What's going on, everybody? Shri Kanase here, founder of Yoru Marketing. But in this video, I don't want to speak as the founder of a Google Ads agency. Rather, I want to speak as an e-commerce store owner because yes, for some of you that don't know, I originally started out as an e-commerce store owner back in the day, and to this day, I still run my own e-commerce brand. Now, there's a lot of e-commerce store owners out there who may be kind of struggling when it comes to scaling their e-commerce brand. They might be at $100,000 a month and might be at $500,000, even $1 million a month. But there's just something going on in the background that's causing them not to feel fulfilled or not to be able to really explode to the very next level. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're below $100,000 a month. You could be at 30, 40, 50,000. Regardless, I want to speak to you directly and kind of go over the raw realities of my own personal experience now scaling over 400 brands past $100,000, $500,000 every single month in revenue just from Google Ads alone. And because I've been able to work with so many brands during these last 5 to 6 years, both under my agency as well as just through my YouTube channel, being able to help countless numbers of brands, I've been able to see brands on both sides of the spectrum. On one side, there have been those brands which have failed to truly scale and as a result just die out completely over time. I've even had my own clients, past clients, have this happen to them. On the other hand, I've worked with the brands that started from scratch, started with barely anything and blow up to $1 million a month. I just want to break this all down to you and kind of explain all of the common problems I've seen with these e-commerce brands and what kind of separates the bad brands which struggle to scale and grow from the good brands, because this is one of the most touch topics out there. Most YouTubers talk about specific strategies, specific guides, etc., whatnot. I do the same, but they don't really talk about the background and the nitty-gritty details. So let's go over each of these problems step by step. And there's actually 3 different problems I want to talk about in this video. The first problem, and one of the main reasons why I've seen brands struggle so much, is because of a lack of a bigger picture. Here's what I mean. So many brands just start out by trying to focus on that one best-selling product, or maybe they have a catalog of different products and they're trying to sell everything all at once. They're trying to cater all of these products as a whole to their ideal audience. And what ends up happening is, instead of just being fully focused on building a brand, instead of fully being focused on an end goal in mind, or just having kind of a direction on which they're taking their brand towards, they just kind of go all over the place. They try a little bit of this, they try a little bit of that, they hire us to run their Google Ads, and as a result, because they're already all over the place, they don't have any sort of solid foundations or solid bigger picture in mind or in effect. And as a result, because they're all over the place, they're taking something called the shotgun approach, where instead of being a sniper focusing on one thing, they're trying 10 different things at once. And what happens? Nothing ends up working. Their brand continues to struggle, even though we're hired to do things, because their foundation is very weak. It's built on the shotgun approach, where their pillars, instead of being like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 major pillars, it's like 50 or 100 different pillars. Each one of these pillars slowly starts to break, slowly starts to fall apart, and that's when brands start to struggle. I can't tell you how many good brands with great, amazing products, with exceptional service, have just died out completely and vanished from the e-commerce ecosystem because they were not focused on the bigger picture. If your e-commerce brand does not have any type of end goal in mind, or if you don't have a clear direction of where you're taking your brand towards, you need to pause. You need to pause all of the marketing efforts and you need to come back, sit down, and focus on the bigger picture. I can guarantee you it's going to have 100,000 times bigger impact on your brand long term than any ad you run right now, than any copy you write right now. And this applies to the Google Ads side of things as well, by the way. I've seen so many e-commerce brands, they run Google Ads strategies, they try one thing, they give it 2 days. If it doesn't work, they're on to the next one. And as a result, instead of having one direct approach, which is properly segmented with the right kind of stuff within it, they have all of these 50 different things running within their ad accounts. Their conversion tracking's a mess. They don't have any sort of product feed optimizations done. And then they're wondering, what is going on? Why are we not getting sales? Well, you need to have a strong foundation in place, not only to run a successful e-commerce brand, but to also scale it to the next level with Google Ads. You need to be narrowed enough where the algorithm knows exactly who your ideal audience is, and it can help you achieve those results. Because keep in mind, the algorithm is on your side. It wants you to spend more money on the platform, so it makes money. So don't think that the algorithm is against you. It's trying to plot against you by making you bid higher and whatnot. Only reason why you're struggling is because of your own failures to build a strong foundation. This is one of the most common reasons I've seen brands struggle to break that 30, 40, 50K, even 100K a month barrier. But now, this brings us to the second most common problem, which even brands at $500,000 a month, $1 million a month still deal with. And this problem is the lack of real numbers. Now, when I say numbers, what popped into your head? Something along the lines of what's my break-even ROAS, or what's my target ROAS, or what's my break-even cost per purchase, etc. popped into your head. That's what most e-commerce brands think of when I say numbers. However, what if I told you that those are just the very bare minimum basic numbers and you need to know more than that? The reality is the numbers you think about are baseline numbers, baseline values, which 95% of the other e-commerce brands already know as well. That's not going to give you the competitive advantage you need to truly scale your brand to the next level. Real scale comes when you know a little bit deeper than that. You know how much of the market share you're really kind of reaching, how much of those clicks from that entire market share you're getting. Things like search impression share, click share, how much of your quality score is low because of a low ad rank, or how much of your quality score is low because of a low daily budget. All these things are super important because they let you know exactly where your brand is lacking. Yes, you might know that your brand is not doing well if your target ROAS is not getting met. Let's say it's a 3x, but you're at a 2x, then obviously you know something's not working properly. But to uncover that, to understand what's not working properly, and then to go in and take the necessary decisions to make it work properly, you need to know deeper numbers. Over time, if you don't take these numbers seriously, what starts to happen is your ad account starts to optimize consistently for the wrong kinds of things. Even if it's running where you want it to be running at, if it's profitable, even then you are potentially losing a lot of extra revenue, a lot of extra profits you could be getting if you just knew your deeper numbers properly. So it's about taking a step back and going deeper into the actual metrics which separates the bad brands from the good brands. At least the ones that I've seen that do $1 million a month or more, they know their numbers to the T, but they know a lot of numbers which you might even gasp about because you have no idea you were supposed to even look at these numbers. So take a step back, quit always focusing on just the top level stuff, and really dig deeper into each of the important metrics to understand how your brand truly is doing, because that's going to give you a competitive advantage over your competitors who are probably not even looking at those things. But this finally brings us to the third most common reason why so many e-commerce brands really struggle to scale beyond a certain level. And I've seen this happen over and over again during my entire existence within the Google Ads realm. And this is a lack of understanding with the platform. Now, when I audit brands under my Google Ads agency or marketing, oftentimes what I see is these brands are trying to win at auctions because yes, Google Ads is an auction-based system. You need to win an auction in order to rank number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. But these brands, they're literally trying to win all of these auctions by bidding the highest or by spending the most money. I can't tell you how bad of a strategy that is, because if all your main goal is to be the highest bid, well then pretty soon you're going to find that you are on the verge of unprofitability and you can't really do anything about it because you have to take that route to rank number 1. That is one of the worst approaches you can take with Google Ads. That's how majority of the brands, even the good ones, end up failing at the end. Instead, you need to take the approach of perceived value. This is the approach we take for 99% of the brands we work with under my Google Ads agency or marketing. Perceived value is where you need to make your landing page experience, you need to make your product listing itself, from the image to the titles, descriptions, etc., so ideal that the user looking for your products or looking for any type of product within your niche is forced to buy from you because the perceived value of your product listing matches the price of the product. So if you're selling, for example, suits, and it's $500. Well, now you need to convince me, the user, why I should give you my $500 for this suit. Does it look good on somebody? Is the product listing have an image where somebody fashionable is wearing it? Or is it on a simple white background image where majority of the other competitors have the same exact thing? But now I can choose between Amazon and your brand. In that case, 99% of the time, I'm going to choose Amazon. So things like these where perceived value is crucial, you need to be focusing on that. Not just with Google shopping listings, but also just in general with Facebook ads, TikTok ads, Pinterest, Google search ads. Perceived value is everything. The user must feel like the money they're giving you is worth what your product is worth, essentially. And you need to convey this value through the images you have, through the overall approach you have, and so on and so forth. This is what separates the bad brands. This is what separates the good brands from the bad brands. The good brands are always focused on perceived value. They're trying to improve it constantly. The bad brands, they're just focused on the campaigns level. They're trying different bidding strategies. They're doing this, they're doing that, anything that they could besides just focusing on the foundation up. But overall, besides these three major things, every brand is unique, and if your brand is not really kind of scaling to the next level, it might also have a unique reason for it. Don't get me wrong, not every brand can be fit into one of these three common reasons I mentioned. However, it's very exciting to be scaling a brand beyond $50, $100, $500,000 a month, and it is entirely doable, at least with Google Ads, if there's enough monthly search volume for your products. Now, if your products don't have monthly search volume as much, then obviously it's going to be very limited. However, 95% of e-commerce brands don't have to deal with search volume related issues because there is enough search volume. So quit focusing on the unnecessary things. Start focusing on what matters if you really want to scale your brand to the next level.